So there was one review that said it was late new metal transitioning into metalcore. And I'm like,
I
yes, it
see
was.
that.
Yes, it was.
I
Have you seen the list of Grammy nominations for 2026?
I didn't. I've been seeing a lot of stuff coming up about, certain bands and people being
Yeah.
nominated. I think Youngblood was nominated for best rock album or something like that, which was interesting.
He
But
he I mean, he's kind of an anomaly. He's all over the place with a bunch of different things.
100%
Um,
agree.
the
Yep.
one cool thing about him, do you remember when him and Nuno Betancourt
Yeah.
did changes at
Changes. Yep.
back to the beginning? That got
Yeah.
nominated.
Yeah, I believe it. It
And
was
I'm like,
good.
okay, that's kind of cool as kind of a,
Yep.
you know, kind of thing. But there was a couple on here that I'm kind of like, oh, how? Like Lincoln Park? And like
Yeah.
that
I
one
felt like that
feels
was
weird,
gonna
man.
happen. It does feel weird.
It feels weird. I don't know.
Yeah, because and again, no shade or whatever, but like, and I will say, I think we've talked about this before. I think when Justin Bonnes was on, we were talking about Linkin Park a little bit, but it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
Emily's stuff with Linkin Park, not calling themselves Linkin Park, I think is good, but like calling it Linkin Park, it's kind of weird because it doesn't sound like Linkin Park. It has elements to it, but
Right.
it's definitely better than what she's trying to do justice for previous to her
Right.
entering the band. And
Right.
so I can listen to their new stuff. It's pretty good. But is it something I'm like should be, nominated for something like this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and to be fair, I haven't really dove into it
yeah,
too much, It just, sometimes you just got to start over. And I
I
feel like
agree.
that's what they
Yep.
should have done
Yeah.
because, and I apologize, I do not recall the original drummer's name, but he opted out of the whole thing.
Yes. Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't know. That one just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep.
Um, but, but yeah, that was nominated for best rock, but Turnstile's all over the place.
Yep.
I know it's not really new metal, but you know, I love
Yeah.
Turnstile.
Yeah, I
So
do
good,
too, man. They're
good for them.
awesome. Yep. Yep.
You know,
Agreed.
Spirit
What about
Box.
like Sleep Token or Spirit Box? Okay, cool.
hmm
I can see
Sleep
that.
Token, Spirit Box. So best
Yep.
metal is Dream Theater, Ghost, Sleep Token, Spirit Box, and Turnstile. Um,
Yeah, that's cool
yeah,
about Dream Theater.
yeah. Dream
Just
Theater is
for
just kind
how
of a
long they've been around and
yeah,
I mean they every time they get nominated they deserve it, and every time they get an award they deserve it. I mean,
yeah.
again, I'm not a huge Dream Theater fan. It's like the only time I ever like really listened hardcore to Dream Theater was when I was like doing recreational things
Sure, sure.
because I was
Yeah,
like, oh shit. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I
But
got
no, they're
I
outstanding, man.
I jumped on during Images and Words way back in the early
Nice.
90s.
Yes.
Because, as a guitar player, I'm reading guitar magazines. I was the
Yep.
kid who, remember in grocery stores, they'd have like the magazine aisle.
Absolutely,
I
dude.
was the kid
Yes.
sitting on the floor reading all
Me
the
too.
guitar magazines because I didn't have the money
Nice.
to actually buy them,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
So I'm reading them in the store. Um, but um, yeah, anyway.
That's
Um,
fun though. That's a cool
yeah, so
memory.
that's when
I
I
mean, I
jumped
didn't
on.
read the guitar magazines myself, but like
Uh,
all the freaking metal magazines and stuff. Like
yeah.
I went through them
Hit
all. Same thing.
Parader.
Like we'd go to like the Hinky Dinky or something like that,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, Mom, I'm going over here, look at the magazines. She'd be like, cool. And same thing, I just sit there on the floor and
Yeah.
I'd pull out like Motley Crue's on this cover,
Yeah.
like whatever. Damn Yankees, cool. Who's this? And just like
Damn
whatever.
Yankees.
Yeah,
New
it
issue
was
of Rip
awesome.
magazine.
Yeah.
There used to be tons of those, like Rip magazine and Hit
Yes.
Parader, and I can't remember the other ones, but those were like they were so like photo dense, like you could just
Yes.
like sit there and scroll through the photos, you
Right.
know, until a store employee came along and said, "Beat it, kid."
Yep.
It's like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm gonna go steal a pack of cigarettes then, haha.
Right.
Um, or I'll just steal this magazine too, and I'll see you
That's
outside.
right. I'm here to buy this juicy fruit, and you walk out with four magazines in your belt.
And a packet of
I
Marlboro
never did that.
Lights.
That's right. Pack of Marlboro Lights. That's right.
That's a fictional story. I never did
That's
that
right.
ever, not
I've never
once.
done that, and we would not ever promote that either.
I do not
That's
condone
funny.
theft in any way, shape, or form or smoking. But it was the
Yeah.
early 90s, dude. Everybody smoked. Literally everybody
Absolutely.
did.
I think about that. I think about that all the time. It was just like now it's just
Smoking,
not a thing. It's complete. Yeah, I miss it. To be
you
honest,
know,
I
I,
find out if I have a terminal freaking illness, I'm starting smoking again. I'm telling you, I
yeah,
miss it.
yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today. Um, I don't know why. I think I saw somebody vaping and I'm like, oh my God, you look so stupid, with
Yeah,
like the big, like huge thing, it looks like
yeah,
a cell phone that they're like sucking on or whatever.
right.
And then I'm like, well, I mean, we're smoking cigarettes kind of looks stupid too. But it's like
Probably.
nowadays, you just don't like see anybody smoking really. And when you do, you're like,
What are you
oh,
doing?
what are
Yeah,
you
exactly.
doing? You can't
Sinner.
do that here. You can't do that here. And then
Haven't you
like,
heard you're gonna die?
yeah,
Yeah,
don't you know those cause cancer? Jeez, it's right there on the box.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I was thinking about it and I'm like, do I miss it? I don't know. I think I might
yeah.
be over that
I
hill there
I
because
yeah.
how long's it
I
been for you?
don't. It's 2008, so however many years that is, it's a long time, going on
Sure.
20 years now.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't miss being like chained to it. You know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
just like you wake up, gotta have a cigarette. You freaking eat, gotta have a cigarette. You gotta have one before I go to bed. Gotta da 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 da. Like I
Right.
didn't miss the addiction part, but there are certain times where you would get done with a good meal or you get done with
Sure.
whatever and you'd have a cigarette and you're like, oh man, that just
Hmm.
hits it. You know,
Yeah.
I that's the stuff that I miss. And every once in a while, like I'll walk by somebody that's smoking, I'll smell that. I'm like, I miss that, but some people
Yeah.
walk in and they just reek of it. I'm like, I don't miss that.
I don't miss that part exactly. Um,
No,
but yeah, I mean, geez, when we were in the studio, that's all we did was smoke in there, you
dude,
know.
all the time.
God love him for letting us do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Amen.
but yeah, that downshift record was fueled on
Yeah.
camels and Marlboros.
Camels and Marlboros and
Yeah.
shit, Sam Adams, Bud Light,
Well,
whole bunch of
yeah,
other stuff.
we had a good time. It's nice when you have friends who own their own studio.
That's right. That was
You
really
know,
nice. Yeah, because that was the thing. Because
it
when
was a
I
good
went
time.
to warehouse, I
Mhm.
was like, "Can we smoke in here?" And the guy's like, "I have an $18,000 microphone. You ain't coming anywhere near that thing with a
Absolutely
cigarette."
not.
And I was like, "Oh, right, fine, okay, fair enough, fair
Yep.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot better. It'd be a lot cooler if you did."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, all right, who else we got here? Nine Inch Nails, As Alive as
Yeah,
You Need Me to Be, best rock song. So, um, I was in like a thrift store the other day or over the weekend. I'd never been in it before and had no idea, just down the street from my house. And walk in and it's not like a thrift clothing store. It was like a
sure.
just random stuff like furniture and just bins of product, like different things, right? It almost looked like a Goodwill, but like a upper scale Goodwill, And I saw like a bin of records, like actual vinyls, and I'm like,
Sure.
well, okay, I'll sift through that. And I actually found two promo copies of this song because it was on the Tron soundtrack. And they did these little 7-inch vinyl promos for it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm like, oh, I should grab this.
7 inch.
And
That's cool.
yeah, and I had it in my hand and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And I'm like, we were just talking on the podcast about how I buy vinyl and I don't have a turntable to listen to
Yeah.
any of it on,
Yep.
so I ended up not buying. I'm sure it's still there, but
Probably.
but it wasn't like a cool like variant. It was just like the red, sleeve and a black vinyl. So it wasn't anything
Sure.
like super cool, but
Right. But
anyways,
still, yeah.
you know.
How much will they ask for it?
See, that's the weird thing. I have no idea. So like the way that this joint worked is they had these like little stickers on everything with a QR code. I'm like, oh, scan the QR code and it'll tell you how much it costs. You know, gives them freedom to vary pricing and all that, I'm sure.
Sure,
So I try and
yeah.
do that and it leads to nowhere. And I'm like, okay,
What a racket.
who works here? It's like
Right.
I couldn't find like anybody who looked like an employee. So I'm like, whatever, I'm over this.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
back in the bin you go.
yeah, because I found a Sex Pistols record too that I was gonna buy.
Oh, nice.
Never mind the bollocks, and yeah, that one came up with nothing also when I scanned the code. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, so that was kind of fun. It's a cool song. Not my favorite
Yeah.
one from Trent, but
Sh-
cool.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's again, it's for a movie. I mean, it's like it's
Yeah.
not like he had like full free range, like, okay, I just want this artistic, representation of me where I'm at now. I mean, it's
Hmm.
purely like here's this movie, watch it and put some music to it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's
then the
good.
other
But I'm a
one,
big Tron fan, so I could really get into that,
are you?
but
You
yes,
know, I saw, not to go down like the movie rabbit hole, but I saw, I don't know if somebody did like a reel on Instagram about it, but like how everything Jared Leto touches like turns to garbage now.
I, yeah,
And like, or it was somebody ranting about who led or who made the decision to have Jared Leto star in the new Tron. And
right.
it's like, oh, it's because he's an executive producer on the show, so he cast
Yeah.
himself. And then they just go through like his last however many movies have just been total garbage.
Yep.
And but actually not to brag on Jared Leto too much. Okay, this is going to be real creepy, but there's a story. Hold on just a second. And this will be
Sure.
more for the YouTube folks. Just because it's staring at me, I feel, and we're
Okay.
talking about Jared Leto, I feel like this is something I should probably put on. Hold on
Sure.
just a second.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome.
There's no like eye holes in this thing. Um,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, celebrity cutouts. So this thing has like stares at me. I don't know why. It's my wife's and it ended up down here. And yeah, so this stares at me like every time we record.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so that was a good reminder to put it elsewhere.
That's funny. Got that Leto vibes going on. That's
I
hilarious.
actually had it on like a baby Yoda, like a
Nice.
Grogu
There you go.
doll.
There you go.
It was a
That's
Grogu
funny.
body with Jared
Grogu.
Leto's face on it.
Grogu Leto.
That'll be the thumbnail for this episode on YouTube.
There you go. Heck yeah. That's funny. That's so funny. Yeah, it's funny
uh,
because like
yeah,
again, not to go too hard into this in the paint, but like, I'm a big movie guy. But I'm also
yeah,
not that movie guy that's like, I think it was, blah blah, I just kind of like movies and it's gotta be pretty bad for me to be like garbage and I turn it off. Um, like the Suicide Squad movie and stuff that he played the Joker in and stuff. It was all right. I mean, there were certain characters in it that were way better. Obviously, Harley Quinn was she made the movie.
right.
Um, and that was amazing. And but I mean, he's all right. I mean, that's the thing. I think what happens is that it's kind of like any fad of anything. You look at The Rock, it's the same way. I mean, he plays
Yeah.
the same character in absolutely every freaking movie that he's in, and it's
Hmm.
like, okay, this series is dying. Throw The Rock in it to save it.
Yeah.
And it's just a blockbuster name, and so. I think people who aren't completely enthralled by Jared Leto's looks and stuff like that, or just see he's just a normal actor. But I think he tries too hard. He tries to be a method actor, and you hear all these stories of him
Hmm.
doing the Joker and stuff, and he's like doing all this weird stuff, behind the scenes and
Yeah.
giving people
Giving
dead
everybody
animals and
snakes and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
what we just weird stuff. And it's like, bro,
It's like
just
Heath
act,
Heath
you
was
know.
better and he's always going to be
Yes.
better, so quit
Yeah.
trying so hard.
Exactly. And he freaking walked into an impossible role with that, and he tried to do something of his own and whatever. It worked out to whatever it was.
Have,
But
have you ever seen the meme? Like somebody asked a question on social media, like, rank the top five or rank the five actors who played the Joker. And he responded, he's like, oh, there was six. And then the
yeah,
guy who wrote the post was like, no, there wasn't.
no,
Have
there
you ever
wasn't.
seen that?
I have seen that. Yep. That's so funny. Have you seen, oh my
Too
gosh,
funny.
there's the freaking comedian who he does Batman and he's like,
Oh,
ugh,
yeah.
and
Pete
he's
Holmes.
like, Pete Holmes, there you go.
Pete Holmes, yeah.
And have you seen where he's like freaking interviewing like all of these, I think it's like all the bad guys and
Yeah,
he's
all the
interviewing,
villains.
all the villains and all the good people and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was about. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And but anyways, so he's like the Joker's up there like dancing, like we live in a society, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're freaking doing a meme that nobody understands. And then like I just remember the very end of it, he like gets up to Joker's ear, he's like, I prefer Jared Leto. He like
Yeah.
walks away.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, that is the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And he
Oh
and
my
he does
gosh.
it he does it in like the oh geez, what's his name? The guy who did Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Patrick Bateman. I can't remember his
No,
real name.
Chris. No, not Chris. Gosh, what frickin' A, dude. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Everybody's screaming at their
I always
freaking computers and stereos right now.
I always call him Patrick Bateman. So you know they're gonna remake that movie,
No,
American
Christian Bale.
Psycho.
There you go.
Christian Bale,
Oh,
yes,
are they
thank you.
really? That's a good
I heard that
movie.
they were gonna remake it, and word was it was gonna be a woman. And I was
Ooh,
like, um,
interesting.
that's probably the only way to do it because
Right.
it's not ever going to be as good as what he did
No, yeah,
in
I
the
mean, that's the
original.
thing. Yep, that's the thing. I
But
mean, and that's one dude, again, hey, welcome to our movie podcast or movie episode.
yeah,
That's one of the Christian
we're
Bale,
shifting
he's one of the
formats.
guys. Yeah, we're shifting formats. That's right. Christian Bale he's one of those guys that he is Midas. Everything that he's in is freaking outstanding. Like I
He's
freaking
tremendous. Yeah.
love. Oh my gosh, dude. Like The Machinist.
Oh, where he dropped like 1,000,000 pounds. He looked
Yes.
like a
Oh
stick
my
figure. Yeah.
gosh, man. I don't know why, but I never watched that movie up until just a few years ago. And it was
Mm.
like, I like pulled it up, like I was like on a lunch. I forget what I was doing. I was doing something where I was like in a parking lot one day, like just I like stopped and got some food. I was like eating a
Yeah.
sandwich or something like that in this parking lot. I stayed in the parking lot watching the whole damn movie. I was like, this movie's too good. I don't want to stop. But it was freaking awesome. But yeah, Christian Bale is freaking,
Like, give it a
he's
shot.
awesome. He was in a movie not too long ago, where he was like taking these Indians across, the state or something like that. I forget what it was
Hmm.
called, but oh gosh, okay. I'm sorry, I gotta look this up here really quick. I'm not prepared for this at all, but I'm gonna bring it up though because I have a family member who was actually in that movie, which
No
is
kidding.
cool. Um, let's see. Yeah, sorry. We're gonna have to like
No, you're good,
like
man. You're good.
quick cut this freaking
Well, while you're
this
looking that
episode here.
up, I'll tie up the whole Grammy thing.
There you go.
Because Deftones got nominated for
Oh,
Private
nice.
Music.
I did see that there.
That one is that and Turnstile to me are very well deserved. The rest, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not a big Sleep Token guy. Spirit Box is good. I love it.
I like
It's the
Spirit
same song
Box.
over and over again. No
True.
disrespect to anybody, but it's literally the same song.
It's working for him
Um,
though.
it is, and when it works,
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, I mean, do people care about the Grammys anymore?
I, I don't
I
think
don't know.
so. I think it's more for the artists than anything.
Yeah, clout.
But yep, clout. So that movie's called Hostiles. It was in
Okay.
2017.
Hmm.
Freaking outstanding movie. If you've never seen it, you need to watch it. It is an outstanding.
Yeah.
It is I'll say it's pretty graphic and
Like violence.
violent. Yep. And
Yeah.
it's like held in uh basically during the time when like, Civil War era kind of a thing. And so he was like military person who had killed so many different Indians and stuff. He was known for like taking out all these like really hard Indians, defined and Native
Yeah.
Americans, I should be saying. And anyways, so then they capture this one and then he's like dying. And so like the general or something like that is like giving him the opportunity to die on his native land with honor. And so he wants Christian Bale's character to take him there and protect him so he can go there and die an honorable death and stuff like that. And Christian Bale's like, completely racist, like I want nothing to do with him. This guy's killed so many of my soldiers and all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. And so that's the whole movie about him getting them there. And then he ends up like, they end up kind of like forming a friendship and stuff. And it's just a good
Heavy,
movie, dude. It's so good.
heavy.
And it's heavy and it's freaking very brutal. I mean, there's a lot. Like
Yeah.
the first, like we went there to go see it's my wife's first cousin. It's her husband that's in the movie, and he's just a background character. It's not that big of a deal, but shout out to Greg. But anyways, so we went there to go see that, and I'm like, I'm not a big history buff myself. And but anyway, so we go to the movie theater, and it's like it starts up, and dude, like 7 minutes in, I'm like, look at my like, what did you bring me to? Like, this is so graphic. It's like a Saw movie. Maybe not that bad, but it was pretty bad. But either way, good movie though. It's outstanding. So I
Hmm.
digress.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah,
So,
hostiles. So anyways, so yeah, so a lot of Grammy
sorry.
Jared Leto. I prefer Jared Leto.
My Joker was better.
My Joker is better. That's funny. But again,
Yes.
mad props to him for being a musician though, because I freaking like me some 30 Seconds to Mars.
First album, definitely. Second one,
Yep.
After that,
Yeah. But to me,
okay, this
and
is
I
where I'm
know
a little
it's like
bad, I guess.
overplayed by like a lot of people probably, but I think The Kill, I mean, it's probably at least in my top 10 favorite songs of all time of
Really?
ever. Oh yeah. I love that song. There's very few songs that get stuck in my head that I don't, I'm like, I want a freaking ear scrubber to get this
Hmm.
out of my head. And that is one of them. If it gets stuck in my head, I'm like, I'm cool with
Really?
it. I like it. You can sit there as long as you want. I like that song.
Did you, not to make this all about Jared Leto, but did you ever see Artifact, the movie that he did about the music industry?
Sounds
It was gonna be like a documentary on the making of This Is War, but it ended up being about the music industry because they were getting screwed left and right. It's
really
a good watch. So,
okay.
so I will give Jared props on that movie, and then the first 30 seconds record.
Yeah, from 2012 and the first season.
You know where it is he's like a cult leader now, like white robes and all. For
No
anybody who needs an
way.
internet rabbit hole to go down, check that out. Anyways,
Anyways,
yeah,
so
okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll stop beating Jared up now.
So okay, so who do you think is gonna get best rock album though? Out of all those people?
Um, those were across a couple different categories. Um, best rock album. I'm pulling for Turnstile. I really am.
Yeah, I hope
From an
so too.
industry standpoint, I bet they give it to Linkin Park.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna
I
put my
think
money
Deftones
on
will get
either.
hosed.
I'm gonna put my money on. Here's the thing. I would say it's probably gonna be Linkin Park, or
Yeah.
if it's all rigged, I'm almost wondering if it's gonna go to Youngblood because of just all the
Yeah,
stuff with
maybe.
Ozzy that,
Yeah.
Ozzy was like, I'm passing on the baton to you kind of a thing. And this whole big, like go to America and take over America and stuff like that. Like when that was said, and then I saw that he was nominated. And again, no disrespect to Youngblood. I think he's a very charismatic person and he's a
Oh
good
yeah.
singer and
He's
stuff.
fun. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
fun.
he's fun, man. He's very magnetizing, and magnetic. There you go. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, but like when I saw that, like go to America and take over, and then I saw he was nominated, I'm like, yeah, I think he's gonna get it. I think
Yeah.
just based on all of that and just the lore of Ozzy, like how cool that would be.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a little bit of a swayed, you know,
Yeah.
vote there. But
So yeah. Yeah. I bet Sleep Token takes metal, best metal.
yeah,
Um,
probably.
but man, I hope Turnstile. I mean, Turnstile's nominated 4 times.
Yeah, they gotta
Um,
get something.
I mean, best alternative music.
I can see that.
Turnstile, Haley Williams, The Cure, Bon Iver, and Wet Leg. That one I could see them possibly pulling off. Because I
Yeah,
mean, Turnstile, like, it's such an anomaly because they are so fun and it's
yeah,
so like it's such a vibe.
yeah.
And it happened rather quickly with the last
Right.
record. I remember going to see them at Knotfest in Des Moines a couple years ago, and I was still in line to get in when they played. Like they
Oh,
started them that
really?
early in the morning. Yeah. And Becky hadn't heard of them yet. Like they were relatively unknown, and I had discovered them. I don't remember where, but I told Becky, I'm like, I want to see Lamb of God and I want to see Turnstile.
Yeah.
You know, and I was pissed that I had to hear them but not see them. You know,
Yeah, that's too
fast forward
bad.
like 6 months and they're selling out venues, and I was like, good for you guys, good for you.
Yep,
Anyways,
agreed. They're
so I hope they at
good
least
though.
walk away with something. You
Right.
know,
They're good. They're fun. You
oh,
know,
it's tremendous. I mean,
they've been
I just
around
went
since
and saw them in
99.
Turnstile.
Holy
I
crap.
don't know.
That's what it says.
I know that they were a little bit, there was a little bit harder of an edge to it prior to the
It
last
says they
record
were formed
or
in
two records ago.
95.
Could
And then their
be.
first album came out in 99. They had an EP in 97. Jiminy. Holy
Hmm.
smokes. Either way, good for them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Um,
Yeah, to
so
go this long. I mean, yeah, and then still be crushing it. That's cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I
you
agree with
know,
you.
you know who I bet approves? Jared Leto.
Jared
Sorry, I
Leto.
need to put this somewhere else so I don't keep grabbing it and trying to
Yes.
be
Yeah,
funny with it. But
yeah, I agree with you. Uh, when I saw Ghost on there, I was like, well, I'm again not to each their own. I'm just not a fan of Ghost. It doesn't make sense to me. Just not my shtick.
yeah,
I love their
it's
look, but the music doesn't match what they're doing as
right.
far as I'm concerned.
It's, I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's been kind of a thing since the beginning. They're
Yeah,
like, all of, I don't want to call them all the Satan guys, but all of those kind of guys in metal were
yeah,
like, oh, we like the aesthetic, we don't like the music though.
correct.
And
Yeah.
then, so it's like, yeah, excuse
Well,
me,
that's the
I can
thing.
take or leave it. Some
Right.
songs are
And
cool, some are dumb.
there's again no shot to them. And for people that love them, cool, good for you. But
Yeah,
it's just not my style, man. And again, I'm just not
sure.
a to me, they sound like 70s music and
Yeah,
70s
sure.
metal. And I'm
Yeah.
not a 70s metal guy. I don't like Led Zeppelin. I mean, I know, like, what?
Take it back. Take it back.
Crucify him.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, there's some songs by Zeppelin that I like, and I respect the hell out of them. Oh my gosh, don't get me wrong. They're all
Yeah,
talented people and stuff, like Stairway to Heaven, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, they're great songs and stuff. But again, it's just not my thing. I'm not like, oh man, Zeppelin is God.
right.
It's like,
Sure.
it's kind of dated and kind of gross, for
Yeah,
me. But
right.
same
Well,
thing with Ghost. I'm just like, that's something that's been done a long time
mhm,
ago, and
right.
I don't know,
I
whatever.
think,
I
well,
honestly think that Ghost is the only reason they are where they are is because their aesthetics. And people would say the same thing about Slipknot back in '99,
yeah,
when they first came out and stuff. And it's like they suck. The only reason they're there is because it's like this weird anomaly. And I'm like, yeah, but the
right.
thing is, they're
Everybody's
cool.
scared of them. Yeah. Well,
Exactly. Yep.
I think the ghost thing is a little bit more indicative of people selling a brand instead of
Yep.
instead
Yeah.
of a band, like brand instead of
Correct.
band, and it's because he's the only guy, he's the sole songwriter,
Right.
he hires people. That's why they're in masks. Like he hires
Right.
people wherever he goes.
Yeah. That's what I
Um,
heard.
I shouldn't say that. Um, there are frequent member changes, and you'll never know because they're all in the mask and
Yeah.
and those things. But like that's why they do that. So
Yeah.
he's got his core group of studio guys that he uses, and he created this big the brand Ghost. Um, it did stem from a band, and they sued him big time
Yeah.
and
I remember hearing
lost.
that. Yep. Yep.
But it was kind of indicative of things to come because now, are you familiar with the band Dogma?
Oh yeah. Yep.
There's that whole nightmare going on for
Correct.
them, but they tried to do the same thing.
Yeah, because aren't those, isn't that that's the chicks that dress like nuns or something like that?
Yep,
Is that right?
yep,
Yep.
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 And I think the record came out in 23, and it's a completely different band now. There's not one original member.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was all studio musicians to begin with. And it's like, okay, you're just, it's somebody behind the scenes selling a brand,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, I get it. It's entertaining. The music is fun.
Right.
I
Yep.
get what you're doing, but
Yeah.
I'm also a musician, and
Correct.
like that is something that, yes, the players are very talented.
Yeah.
And they've been lucky enough to have some incredible singers in that band. Um, but it's like you keep switching them out. How long is this going to last? But with Ghost, you don't know they're doing it.
Mhm.
And who knows? He could have the same lineup for years. I don't know. But there was a
Sure.
while, kind of just in my circles, he was looking for a bass player in the States
Yeah.
for I forget what tour. Um, and like, wow, really? But anyways,
Yeah, but at one point, I mean, you got to think about it too, because it's like there's that line there that Mushroomhead ostensibly is doing the same thing, where it's just a brand
kind of,
now, you
kind of,
know, because I
yeah.
don't even know if there's even any original members left in Mushroomhead. If there is, there's
Skinny,
one. Skinny's
skinny.
left again, but he
He's the
left for a
yeah.
while too. Didn't he? And then came back.
Mm.
I can't remember,
That's
but
the other brother. That's his brother.
okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
his
right. Yeah.
brother played guitar, I believe. Same last name. Don't recall what it
Mhm.
is. But yeah, he left for a while and then came back. I think Skinny's been, um, from to my
Yeah.
knowledge, like the one sole consistent, and he runs the show.
Yeah, who am I
And
thinking of? I
then
thought that we talked about somebody that recently we talked about that there's no more original members of the band anymore and it's still going.
it's
Can't
possible.
remember who yeah, we were talking about. I
I
can't
think we
remember
were
who it
talking
was.
about Havoc. Um, no,
Maybe. No, I
because
thought it was
David's the
somebody
only
bigger,
original
but
guy left. But
yeah, either way.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's, when you start going down the brand road and you're literally, you know, that's all you're doing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, but, with Ghost, he's still the guy. He's still writing the music.
Sure. Yep.
He's still performing,
Yeah.
and a cool character storyline. Get it? There's more than just the music and whatever. But I think that is the reason that they're so successful in those types of projects because it is like it's something that it's like okay, you have characters and you can go different
Yes.
storylines and it becomes more than just nine guys in masks or five guys on stage playing their set kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
Um, but again, I'm a musician, so when I go to a show, I'm staring at people's gear and watching them
Sure.
play and those kinds
Yeah.
of things. It's kind of like,
Yeah, but the majority of the listeners are typically, and that's why they can, I don't even want to say bamboozle or anything like that, but like they're typically, they don't even care. You know what I mean? It's like
right, sure,
most listeners are like the singer is the
the
pinnacle, and
guy.
then everybody else is there to back up the singer.
Yeah.
And so that I can see them getting away with that. And same thing with like
hmm
Sleep Token and stuff like that too. I mean, you would never
Yeah,
know.
it's true.
Um,
Yeah, that's very
a lot of
true.
these bands, and that's what's kind of interesting about Alex Terrible and stuff with Slaughter to Prevail and stuff is like I don't necessarily think they came out with the masks. It was just I think it's something that they kind of ride a little bit, but it's like it to me like you see the band all the time with the masks, but then like Alex Terrible has his own, but then he takes it off and then he puts it on and he takes it off, and that's kind of weird. But it's just like the
Well, those
whole
masks are
mystery of
dumb anyways,
yeah,
and I don't care who gets mad
like
at me.
you
Those masks
hate
are
those
stupid.
masks.
Those are dumb, and I mean, and I knew they were okay. I don't know if I told you this like on mic or off mic, but I found them on Amazon once. The
Oh,
exact same
okay.
thing. So it's like, okay, you guys just surfed Amazon for scary mask, and that's what you found. So you bought it, and then it became your whole shtick. Like there was no
Yeah.
thought put into it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time I see him wearing those stupid things, I'm like, one, they were on Amazon, so I know where you got them, and they're just
Right.
dumb looking.
Well, devil's advocate
Anyway, and
here.
rant and rant.
Yeah, and rant. Well, devil's advocate, and again, I'm not sticking up for him. I'm just saying, if you think about like with like Slipknot back in the day, outside of maybe a couple of them, I would imagine most of those masks, like clowns and stuff, especially, were bought that way. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
God,
And then
yeah,
eventually, by the time they got money,
yeah.
then they started. I think obviously Corey's was handmade and stuff like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
I can understand. But I think since then, Slaughter to Prevail has been getting them made. Because like I know
Oh, I'm
Alex
sure.
Terrible had a video where he was showing how he had this one made and it like the jaw moves it, and it's got way more teeth and it's got teeth inside and all this other stuff. So I think that since then they've been doing it. But you're right. If how do you really feel about this, Dan?
As I'm trying to induce vomiting.
That's so funny that you
I don't
just
know.
like you have such a visceral hatred for their
Uh,
masks. That's
it's
awesome.
weird.
Good for you, dude. What's up, everybody? Jeff Geegan from the We Were Loud Ones podcast. I want to take a quick second to talk about W energy drinks. One thing that W did that I think is really cool and I stand behind is that for people like me who don't drink caffeine,
They make a hydration blend that has got no artificial flavors and is jam packed full of different vitamins and minerals, and it tastes good and it makes you feel good as well. They have multiple different kinds of B vitamins within their hydration blend. I have this one right here. This is a pineapple strawberry blend, and it's delicious. I drink this multiple times a day. It doesn't give you that boost of like caffeine. It just makes you feel good. B vitamins are outstanding. So I love this. I think you will too. Even if you are a caffeine drinker and you want to have something else where you're not drinking 6 or 7 different things of caffeine during the day, but you still want to drink something that tastes good, makes you feel good, get their hydration blend. It's really, really good. They have different flavors. All you got to do is go to dubby.gg. That's dubby.gg. And then type in We Were Loud Once, and you'll get 10% off. And it's pretty rad. I promise. You're going to love it. Check it out.
I
Do
just,
you
yeah,
like
I, you know,
do
I,
you like their band though?
I can't do it. I don't know. I'm sorry. No,
No, you don't like them
no, I
at
don't.
all. Interesting.
No, not really. Not really. You know, okay. I haven't listened to enough to say
Okay.
that. I've heard a
Okay.
couple songs and it loses me very quickly. Um, because the whole thing is kind of going to something that you just said with the singer being the focal point. It's too much the focal point for them.
Sure.
And I think
So
that
you're
that
saying it's
takes away.
all Alex Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
I
it's
can
like,
get that.
okay,
Yep.
that takes away from the music behind it. But then again, kind of zooming out into, a lot of modern metal, there's not a whole lot of, and I'm
Agreed.
sorry, and I mean no disrespect to anybody's guitar playing, but
Yep.
there's not a whole lot of ingenuity happening
Yeah.
these days in terms of
Yeah.
like riff
It's all
writing
the
and metal.
same. Yep.
Correct. I mean, it's all like that syncopated drum guitar thing, that
Yep.
Meshuggah thing,
Yep.
as just getting beat into the ground. It's like, okay, where are the riff writers?
Correct.
Like the real ones,
Yep. I agree. And
And
I'm
it's
not even a
like,
guitar player, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm like, dude, at some
yeah,
point this has got to end. Like we got to
yeah,
do something new. I think
right.
again, that's why we're doing this show again. I think new
Yeah.
metal's making that wave, and it's coming back because I think people are
Yeah.
just tired of it. They're like, you remember how innovative it was? And then here we are. And it's
Yeah.
like, but again, I think, and again, we've talked about this at length, but it was just that the thing that
We're
new
doing it
metal was
again.
new about. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. You're gonna listen to this again. You're gonna hear us say this over and over again, and you're gonna like
First
it.
time
And
listener,
that's right. Hello.
welcome to
Feel
the
free to
show.
listen back. That's right.
Just so you know where
But
we
no, it's
stand on
just
all of this.
right. But like the first couple of years of new metal was just like it just was so different. And it was like it had
Yeah.
hints of all these different things, but it was so
Yeah.
different. And then it got gross because it was like the labels were like, okay, we need
Hmm.
to get money out of this somehow outside of
Right.
selling t-shirts. We need to sell records too,
Yeah.
and then it just got gross, and then it was just like this churning out
Yeah.
of a machine, and then everybody's like, okay, it lost the cool factor, now it's just gross again. And then so
Right.
then insert metalcore. Okay, this is different, all
Mm.
right, and then but now it's like it's been the same thing for 15 years now with metalcore, and it's like
Yeah.
I get it, it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, even like Killswitch, God bless them, one of my
Hmm.
favorite bands, but every record now is exactly the same thing.
Same. Hmm.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
dude.
Adam found his lane and hit the gas.
Yep.
And if it's not a Kill Switch record, it's a Times of Grace record. If
Yep.
it's not that, it's whatever else he's doing. But I'm really glad that you brought that up because that's a very, very nice segue into what we're supposed to be talking about in this episode. Um, and that's the band 5.0 and
Yeah,
the record
good.
Untitled.
Good.
It is probably, and I know I say this about a lot of records, but I mean, all these records that we talk about are probably my favorites. you
Yeah.
know and I think you and I have very similar tastes when it comes to this
Agreed.
genre.
Yep.
And I think this record was, and this is the unfortunate part, I think it was a little too late.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah.
I think it came
Yeah.
out a little too late because it came out um in March of 2002.
Yeah.
So you still have some remnants of what happened the year prior. I think people were just starting to get back out on the road. And Roadrunner put this out, and Roadrunner, signed an ungodly amount of bands.
Yeah,
And
dude.
they were kind of the king of this genre.
Yes.
Um, but
Yeah.
in
They were the mecca at that point. That is,
Yeah,
if you got signed to Roadrunner, it's like, oh man.
that
in
was
the big
the
leagues
like that
now.
was the goal. Like I think
Yes,
everybody wanted Roadrunner,
everybody
and
wanted Roadrunner.
because it's like you had, I mean, pick somebody sans Corn and Incubus, and they were probably on Roadrunner.
Yep.
Um, that was kind of the big dog, and um, but you know, even even such, not everybody was a guaranteed,
Right.
success, unfortunately. And um, but here was the crazy part about this band: a lot of them were like 18 and 19 when they got signed.
Oh, really? So they were
They
real
were
young.
kids. They were kids, and
Man.
it's wild to me because I'm like 18, 19 years old. You know, I don't know what I would have done. I don't think I would have been ready for a record deal
Right.
at 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
You're
was,
a kid.
yeah, and I'm thinking about it going, man, for a record this good to be written by people that young, it's like it's kind of, mind blowing because it's like,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to perfect my songwriting, you
Yeah.
know, and my riff writing and incorporating different things. And it's like, man, they had it, whether it was the producer, whether it was the people in the band, but they had it dialed in big
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Well,
but
yeah, because I mean, and you're probably right with that. The producer probably had a lot to do with it. I mean, I think
when
they
I tell you who it is, it'll make
obviously,
sense. Yeah.
oh, who's the producer?
Colin Richardson.
Oh, yep, there you go. That makes
So he
100% sense.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with Colin, he has done, if memory serves, every Machine Head record, sans the Burning
Yep,
Red. He did 1 Minute Silence. He did Bullet for
yep,
My Valentine,
yep.
and a whole lot of Napalm Death.
Yes, whole lot of Napalm Death.
Whole lot of Napalm Death in the 90s. So he had that kind of death metal kind of element, and a little bit of the
Right,
new metal background. Um, and that's definitely not his entire discography. And if you go through it, you will see a lot of familiar heavy bands.
correct.
So he
Yeah.
definitely had them dialed in.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, because that's again, like I'm wholeheartedly with you that it blows my mind that they're 18, 19. Not saying that you can't be that good at 18 or 19, but that freaking record, dude, is solid.
Yeah.
It sounds like they've been together for like, 10 years and put out
Mhm.
something so good. I would say, the vocalist Daniel, was it Struble, whatever, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm
But
assuming Struble,
I
yeah.
just looked up his name right now, so I apologize.
Mhm.
But here's the thing. That guy was wicked talented and he was so, so
Yeah.
good. The only critique I would give is that and I fell into that as well, but some of the holding out notes for too long and stuff and not letting the song kind of come up. It's like this is the
Yeah.
point where the vocalist should probably just die off for a second and let the song come up and stuff. And I did that, a bunch of times too. And I understand now. And now as an adult, I probably should have done some things a little bit differently. But
Oh, me
again,
too.
that's like my only critique of him because the thing is, he had such a solid voice. His scream was
Mhm.
outstanding. His singing abilities were so good on that
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
So
And that
melodic and outstanding. Sorry.
and that was the more, no, you're good. The more criticized part of the album was his vocals.
Yeah.
A lot of the, reviews were like he screams too much, where he should be singing. And I'm like, I don't really
I
hear that, but okay.
I could see
Um,
people saying like he might be a little bit nasally or something like that, and some of the
yeah,
stuff, but I thought that
yeah,
it's just so well done, man.
right. But there was
That's
one
that's
review.
go ahead.
Say there was one review that nailed it perfectly, kind of going back to what we were saying, or what we were talking about when I said this is a really good segue. So there was one review that said it was late new metal transitioning into metalcore. And I'm like,
I
yes, it
see
was.
that.
Yes, it
I
was.
see that.
And I did not make that connection until I read it. And I'm like,
I see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense.
Right. And then when you think about Bullet for My Valentine as well, I mean, it's like you gotta wonder if that was the like, hey, I could do something as a producer with this, and I don't
Mhm.
know. Because again,
And
I give that a lot of people give Bullet for My Valentine a lot of crap, but
mm,
I dude, that fucking album was so
I
that
liked
thing
I
came out.
liked the EP, and then what's it called?
Yes.
Poison? The Poison?
The
Whatever
Poison, yeah.
yeah.
When
Like
that
those,
freaking album took off,
yeah.
dude.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I think they get so much crap. you know,
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
just so freaking overnight boom sensation and
Yeah.
stuff. And but either way, back to 5.0. But
Yeah. No, I mean, Bullet, yeah. I still listen to some of those songs.
oh
But
gosh, it's so good though. Like
yeah.
again, I don't. People give that record so much crap. I'm like, come on, dude. And
Mm,
you probably give Limp Bizkit crap as well, And it's like,
sure.
but at some point you were freaking
Yeah.
rocking it out, and it's just like now
Yeah.
it's cool to hate on them. And now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some bands out there that deserve it, like Nickelback. No, I'm just joking. But 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 it's just the same. It's the same mantra. It's like when something is so big and so good, people have to be cool to hate on it, And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
dumb. If it's good, it's good, So
Everyone's a critic.
to a degree with 5.0, it's like I'm kind of glad that it didn't do so well that it just ruined it, for people and stuff,
Mhm.
But I don't
Yeah.
know. I love this
It's
freaking record so much though, and it sucked that because they're just a one and done, weren't they? Or did they put out two?
No, it was just one. So kind of what happened, from what I could find, since it was kind of a really short thing for these guys, there's not a whole lot out there, in terms of, what happened and who did
Yeah.
what, and what I could find, in the black hole that is Reddit. So take this for what it's worth. There was, some people wanting to kind of live the rock star life and some people that didn't. And, that caused, Daniel and Sharon, the guitar player, to exit, right. I think it was after the European tour. So they only did like a year of touring on this and they were done.
Jeez.
And I'm like, well, that's a travesty in and of itself.
Yeah.
However, the more I dug into this, they left because they were going to start another band. And they
Oh,
started a
really?
band called The Renaissance, which I had no idea.
Okay.
And it's more just straight kind of rock stuff,
Okay.
think Foo Fighters kind of thing, right? And then these two get married. So,
Together?
and from what I could find, they're still married. Um,
Really?
but Daniel did a couple other things, during all of that. He started a band or joined a band, I don't know, called Zillion
Okay.
that is metalcore. And it sounds kind
Oh,
of like 5.0 on crack.
interesting.
And
Okay.
I could only like the album is streaming, but you have to Google it. I think it's like Internet Archive or whatever. It's
Okay.
not on like Spotify or anything, I don't think. I listened to a handful of tracks earlier, and I'm like, yeah, pretty good. Um, and so I was pretty psyched to hear that. But going back to the Kill Switch thing, he was the touring bass player for Times of Grace, 2011, 12.
Really
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
interesting.
So it's like they've kind of been in the background underneath everything. At least Daniel has.
Evidently. I
Um,
also was wondering what happened
yeah,
to him. So
yeah.
Zillion is the band?
Mhm. There's like four or five, six bands out there called Zillion.
I was gonna
So
say,
you
like, I'm
have
looking
to
at
really
one.
look.
Yeah.
They're not the one that dresses up and doing all the funky stuff.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
Mhm.
man, they went
You'll see
hard.
his name. You'll see his name.
Okay.
I think she was in it too. Um,
Okay.
I don't recall if she was in Zillion. She probably was, um, but yeah, it's pretty wild. It's good.
That
I
is wild.
recommend it to everybody. The I think 3 or 4 tracks I listened to this afternoon, would recommend it to everybody. It might be on Spotify. I'm not totally sure. I didn't look there, but um,
Yeah, I gotta check it out now.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
again,
definitely, definitely.
he was so that's the thing. I was hoping that he did something because again, like not to just keep talking about him as a vocalist or whatever, but he was freaking so good, man. He had such a unique voice and like his screaming
Hmm.
abilities was on point, especially if he's
Yeah,
that young. Holy smokes.
yeah, yeah. Now, I should say to everybody, I should kind of asterisk all of this information, take it for what it's worth, because, some of it did come from places like Reddit, because there's just not a
Yeah,
whole lot of info out there. This is just what I was able to find. Whether the source was credible, maybe, probably,
sure. Yeah, you
hopefully,
never
since
know.
I'm saying it on a podcast, I hope that it is. But it's all I could find because there's just not a whole lot of info. And a lot of what I found too, it's always like, oh my God, I forgot about these guys. Oh my God, this record was so amazing. I need to go listen to it again, you know? And it's like, yeah, okay. So, again, kind of what you said earlier, I'm hoping that by us talking about it, people go
Yeah.
listen to it again because
Yes.
it's 100% worth it. Was
Oh
one of
my
my
goodness.
favorites back then, and it's still one of my
Yep.
favorites
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, they're definitely, I wouldn't say it's like, top 10 of all time for me or anything like that. But when I think of new metal and I think of deep cuts, 5.0 is the first band that always comes up
Yeah.
in my mind. I'm always like, oh man, and I'm like, I start talking with people, about those deep cuts and stuff like that. And I
Mhm.
always bring them up first. I'm like, have you ever heard of 5.0? And they're like, no, I haven't. I'm like, oh, you got to listen to them. Here you go.
Right.
And yeah, and they also play a big, tug at my heart for their name too, because I don't know where their name come
Yeah.
from, but I'm a big 5.0, Mustang Fox body fan. So I always thought
Yep.
that was super cool. I'm like, God, I wonder if that's what they're talking about, or if they're talking about like the police signal or something. There's
Sure.
different reasons for saying
Right.
5.0, but
Yeah.
either way,
I don't know. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about other members of the band. There was just more
sure,
information on Daniel and Sharon, but
sure.
um, Eric and Tony, which I believe were the other guitar player and drummer, they did start another band called the Burning Down Version 2. Couldn't find any music, so I couldn't really tell you what that sounded like, but um, you know, it kind of seems to me like, the people who were they may have been the ones wanting to live more of the rock star thing.
Oh,
And
sure.
Daniel and Sharon were probably the ones like, "We need to
We'll
calm
settle
down."
down and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which makes
Um,
sense.
yeah. But the one thing I do want to also kind of go through because it was so cool. And this is me being a musician and nerding out on the process. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, definitely pick it up on YouTube because I want to show you guys the studio that they did this record in. And kind of going back to the production and Colin Richardson, it has that, now that I know that he was the one behind it, it has that kind of sound, right?
Oh, sure.
Um, so the studio that they recorded in was called Sonic Ranch Studios, and it's just outside of El Paso, Texas. So I want to show you guys, um, and I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see. So Sonic Ranch, they call it like a residential studio,
Sure.
and they have four big studios in it. So they've got the Big Blue, and I'll go into them individually here in a second, briefly. The Neve Studio, that's a Neve board. Those are
Wow.
highly sought after, highly
Yep.
sought after. Um, a Studio, and then the Adobe Studio. So the Blue Room, I don't know which room they recorded in. That I couldn't find. But these are just like, it's too cool. The room is absolutely massive. Um, and like, look at that.
That's
It's all
insane.
like the acoustic design in this joint,
Jeez.
in each one of the four rooms. It's like all intentional. It was all designed. I do not recall the guy's name, um, but it was all designed with intent. And
Yep.
like, whoa. So the more I got into it, like the musician in me just started to nerd out. Um, the Neve room or the Neve studio, like this control room, I'm like, oh my God, that's like dream come true. If I
Yep.
ever have a budget
Goodness.
for a record, I want to go here. Um, they've done, in terms of new metal, like Mudvayne did self-titled here,
Oh,
a
did they
self-titled
really?
record. hmm Um, ironically enough, Bullet for My Valentine did Scream Aim Fire
Yeah.
here. Um, And there's another band that you actually introduced me to. It's not new metal, but I've been obsessed with them ever since. And
Ace of
that's
Base.
Ninja
Oh,
Sex
sorry.
Party.
Oh, yes.
Yep,
Heck
Ninja
yeah.
Sex Party. They did Cool Patrol here. Um,
Oh, no
Again, I have no
kidding.
idea what room, but yeah. Um, but yeah, I was just nerding out on this studio. Um,
Yeah,
so
that first studio that you point out that's like basically all wood or whatever, it kind of
the
reminds me
Big
of
Blue.
like yeah, it kind of reminds me of like EMI, where like
Yeah, kind
the
of.
Beatles recorded their
hmm
their record, Abbey Road.
Yeah, Abbey Road
Yeah,
Studios. Yeah,
it's very
isn't that
similar to
wild?
that. That is wild. Jeez,
Yeah,
man.
and it's right outside El Paso
Oh, I
near
bet
the
that sounds
border.
amazing.
I bet so too. Like, I mean, the aesthetic is awesome
Yeah.
in terms of recording studio,
What a
but I mean,
vibe. you
Yeah.
know?
And that's important. Like for people
Yes,
who aren't like recording musicians, like that's a big thing. And
big time.
that's something that translates through to the record. And you gotta, and that's why music studios, recording studios, they look the way they do, and there's, you know, whatever ambiance going on,
Right.
candles, incense. You've always heard of those singers who insist on having candles lit, and it's like that's why.
Oh,
So,
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, and some some singers or whatever, one album they'll have candles and stuff, or certain songs they'll
mhm.
have candles and stuff, other ones they don't. They have different, things going on and stuff. And I think wholeheartedly, we've talked about Slipknot quite a bit on this show, but I really feel like that's where Volume 3 stood so differently was because of Rick
Mhm.
Rubin and how
They were in the
just the
mansion, yeah.
vibe, just the energy and everything was
Mhm.
completely different. And not just necessarily the producer, but where they recorded at. And that's again where you kind of see that where they're different records and stuff, and
Yeah.
they're all different.
Dude, look at all these vintage guitars, man. Like
That's insane.
you are going to get the sound that you are after
Yep. Like
in
I
this
want to
room.
do this. Yes, here you
Mhm.
can. You can do
And
this right there.
clearly, given the record that we're talking about, it does not matter what style of music.
Right.
The Adobe Studio looks like that's the only photo of that one. But yeah, kind of wild,
Interesting.
man. Like I couldn't not I
That's
couldn't not
cool
show
though.
that. When I found it, I was like, oh, I have a new professional dream, you
No
know.
kidding.
Even if it's only one song, like
I was gonna say, I wonder
uh,
how much they charge for like 3 days.
let me see if they
You
have
and
the
me,
rates on here.
yeah, let's figure that out. And then
Um,
you and I will fly out there.
yeah, you gotta message them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Yeah,
we could
call
go
us.
do like an acoustic version of a song that we've already written or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah.
Um,
$60,000. No.
I mean,
For three
anymore,
days? Yeah.
like studio rates, like I don't even know what they are today because like everything I've recorded and well, I mean,
Right.
ironically, probably the last 20 years has been done either in a home studio or a friend's studio.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like I haven't been in a professional studio since probably 2002, 2001, 2002 probably.
Yeah.
Not
Well, I
important.
would, but again, to come back to that though, with the vibe and stuff, it's totally true.
Yeah.
And I,
Same
not
thing with
nothing
podcast
against,
sets, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole
makes a big
thing.
difference. I'm telling you, I've
Yeah,
recorded
right?
all over the place, man. And,
And the blue is
for
intentional,
podcasts,
guys.
it
Yeah,
is
the blue is
intentional. That's
intentional.
right. That's right. It's in our blood. It's in our
Follow us
DNA.
on social media to find out why.
You'll understand exactly. It's very intentional. But again, and I don't mean this in any, misdirection or negativity whatsoever about warehouse productions and stuff, but to me, recording a metal album and that was very hard. I don't believe that studio was set up for metal whatsoever.
It wasn't.
It was too big. It was too big room. It
Yeah.
was, and you could hear it. I mean, it wasn't just our stuff. I mean, it was,
Mhm.
freaking the vernaculars recorded there. There's so many bands that recorded there and stuff. And I always
Yeah.
had that same critique. I'm like, they're not, their producers were good and stuff, but again, it just, it just didn't work well with metal. It was too wet. It
Right.
was too big. It was too,
Yeah.
and that's why I loved, how we did our album and stuff.
Hmm.
It was way more dry, way more, visceral and raw, and
Right.
again, the vibe of that was like homegrown,
Yeah.
and
And we could
and I
smoke.
loved, yeah, and we could smoke. That's right, and that's the thing. It's like it was it was sitting around with your friends and stuff, and just kicking back
Yeah.
and being like, what should we do here? What should we do there? And stuff like that. Whereas like
Hmm.
Warehouse was like, it felt like, whoa, like
You're on the
there's
clock.
been,
Yeah.
yeah, you're on the clock, and there's been some big names who've been through here and stuff. And it's like, and it's not, it's more one size fit all and less like intentional for this.
Yeah.
And
Who were those names? I don't remember. Do
the
you?
producers or what?
No, the like bigger bands that recorded there.
Well, like,
Do you remember? I don't.
yeah, Hold on.
Because I know that they used to do like cartoon overdubbing
Yes, and they
in
also
that
did a
studio.
lot of jingles in there
Hmm.
for like Baxter. It just doesn't get any better, stuff like that,
Yeah, the local.
like all these
Yeah,
Omaha local jingles.
yeah,
Um, yeah, hold on here. Let me see.
yeah.
Studio.
And I mean, Omaha had, back then there was like the two major studios that Omaha had, Warehouse and then Studio AB, the Mannheim Steamroller
Man, that's what I
um,
was gonna say, man, it's
studios.
Steamroller, yeah.
And it was
I
cool to do some mastering there. That was neat to see it all. And
Yep.
um, so that was fun,
Yes.
kind of
Yeah,
snooping
that was a
around
lot
in
of
the
fun. That
studio.
was a cool place too. You want to talk about a vibe. I mean,
I mean, just the weight of the music that had been recorded in those
that's what
rooms.
I'm saying.
It's
You
like,
walked in, you're like, I
whoa,
can't believe we're
wow,
here right now.
and
Yeah,
it's like I've never been like bucket list, of course I want to go to Abbey Road and all of these like iconic studios, you know. Um, haven't yet, but that one it's like you can feel the weight, you know. Like, oh
correct.
my God, they recorded those records here. That's so wild. They got those sounds out of this room.
Right.
It's crazy, man. And musicians are very sensitive to that,
I agree. I don't
you
know.
know.
Again, I'm going through, and this is on Discogs. So again, whether
Sure.
this is real or not, but they are attributing Lady Gaga to Warehouse. And I know she was dating
Well,
a dude from
she did live here
Louisville.
briefly.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, and so I'm thinking
It's
that she
possible.
probably did an album there, which says a lot. But
Or just did some tracks, for
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, I didn't even think of that because the place is gone now.
yeah, it's gone.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's part of the hospital down there now, I think.
yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
But
but like, yeah,
yeah, that's
there's
wild.
just it was like everybody like that was the place to the
Mm,
big place to go in Omaha. It's like if you went to
yeah,
Warehouse, it was like, oh man, they spent some money, and
you
so
were
that's why
gonna
you
get
went
a,
and did it. But I just remember recording there, going like, this doesn't feel good, It just
oh yeah,
no shot towards them or anybody that worked
right,
there or anybody else that recorded there. It just
right,
didn't feel right with metal to me.
yeah.
Um,
Well, what people started doing, and Narcotic Self is one of them, is they would only do drums, and then
yeah,
they would
I can
take
see
the
that.
tracks and then
Yeah,
do the rest at home. That's what
yeah,
Narcotic did on the Blood and Poison album. For
yeah,
those who listened to our conversation with the Thrash Master General,
yeah,
um, I believe he mentioned that too.
right.
But yeah, they recorded him down there, and I think he said like a day and a half, um, and then
Yeah,
took the
and that makes
tracks and.
sense. And that's the thing. Yeah, it's very,
Mhm.
very percussion, and ready. And then I was gonna say, if you're doing clean vocals and stuff like that, it was a great place for that, especially if you're doing a lot of harmony.
Yeah,
Now, if you're doing dirty vocals, which was 70% of, what I did, it was
hmm,
very difficult to record there because there's stuff, it was too real. And
yeah,
sometimes, I never recorded with an SM58, but it was like sometimes I wanted to, and like I said, when you're recording on a microphone that's $150 compared to a microphone that's almost $20,000 and it's
right.
gold, it's like it's
Yeah,
going to sound way different. And when you're doing
hmm,
dirty vocals, you don't want it to be that clean. And so it's
right,
like, it was very difficult to record there. And I just, it didn't leave a lot to the imagination. Every single band that recorded there that was metal, that I heard, Vernaculars and whoever else, us and whoever, it was always the same thing. I heard that all the time. I'm like, the vocals sound too close. It's too good. And I was
right.
like, it needs to
Yeah,
be backed
it's
away a
too
little bit.
good.
It's too
It's
good.
too
It's too,
good.
yeah. It's like you want a little bit of that mystery. You need distortion. You need,
Right.
I don't want to, I don't know. I could go on and on about that, but it's just,
Sure.
that's what I love about, you know, 40 Below, and with Max Illage and stuff. And I don't know what microphones he's used, but I'm telling you right
Oh,
now,
he's got YouTube videos.
yeah, I'm telling you right now, he's
Yeah,
pretty
check that
brutal with
out
them.
on YouTube.
Yeah. And
He does studio
so,
tours, I think.
right. And so it's like, you could tell, and probably when he does the clean vocals and stuff, he's probably killing it on a really nice microphone and stuff. But again, the dirty vocals and stuff, I mean, he wants that sound to be what he's live, and
Hmm.
that's probably the point that I'm trying to make the most is that it's hard to replicate that sound live when you're
Mm,
so clean, you know,
yeah.
and you're getting up and you're using a stage mic or something like that, or you bring your own mic and stuff. You know, I had a cordless mic that I brought with me. It was an SM58 cordless. But the thing is, those are notorious live microphones for a reason because
Right.
they're outstanding. And it's like, that's the thing I kick myself is that I should have like pushed harder to be like, I want to sound like this. This is what I practice with.
Yeah.
This is what I play live with. I want to sound like this. I don't want
Mhm.
everybody to hear every muscle fiber in my vocal cord, you know, because this microphone's so good. I just remember being in that
Yeah.
vocal booth for the first time and I just like rubbed my shirt and it was so loud in my
And you
headphones.
can
I'm
hear
like,
it.
what
Yeah.
is that noise? And they're like, oh yeah, you can hear everything. And I'm like, I don't want to hear everything. You
Right.
know, it's
No
like,
pressure. No pressure.
yeah, exactly. So I'll get off this soapbox here, but either way,
Hey,
sorry.
yeah, it's no, don't be. I had a very similar experience there. I don't, it just, it, there was a band that, recorded there and had a lot of success with their record, at least, regionally. So, everybody tried to mimic that
Yep.
and tried to, and it was what it was. Like I said, it was probably at the time, if it wasn't the nicest studio in the area, it was one of two.
Right.
Um, so, um, but
I,
but
and
yeah.
I will say again, those guys down there were so great.
Oh yeah, they were all
They're
incredibly nice.
yes, nice guys, very talented. And you got to think about it, like that's got to be one of the hardest things as a producer to bring in a band that's like, I got $1,500. I want to do 3 songs. Can you make this good? It's like,
No,
okay.
no, I can't.
Yeah, it's like, and
Yeah,
what is your sound? I'm post grunge, revolutional, blah blah blah. You know, like
right.
what?
What
And
does that
it's
even
like
mean?
exactly. And so they're listening to it for the first time, and then they're trying to produce something that sounds good,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
you're
and
trying to take on somebody's energy, and that's got to be tough. But
yeah. I was talking to some younger musicians recently, and you know, these days with what's available for home recording, I think the attention to the actual like equipment and the sound that the equipment is making has become an afterthought.
yeah,
So it's like when you mic a drum set, if that drum set is garbage, it's going to
yep,
sound like garbage. You cannot fix that. Now, having said that, you can snap it to a grid and sample all of those drums. Gigantic pain in the ass, but it can be done.
sure,
But if you're not going to do that, you better have a good sound coming out of the drum into a good microphone. And I think
right,
that's kind of an afterthought because they think everything can be fixed during mixing and post. So no, the room still matters.
big time.
The gear still matters. I mean, you're not going to go play, a $500 acoustic guitar, into a podcast microphone and expect it to sound good or think, oh, I'll just fix it later.
Yep,
Guess what? No, you're not.
yeah,
It doesn't work that way. You know,
yep,
Anything acoustic, you got to do it that way. And now if it's, electronic, even with electric guitars, now I'm going off on a thing here, but it's like everybody will record a DI track and reamp it through literally everything until okay, yeah, that's cool. But again, it's digitized, and
yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess we're from a generation that like, I don't know. Is that elitist to be like, oh yeah,
I don't
we
think
had to
so.
use
I
the
don't think
best
it is.
equipment, It
Right,
feels like it's
because
a
here's
little
the
bit.
thing. At our time, when we were young and we were recording and stuff, everybody was talking
Mm.
about like, oh man, digital just sucks. And you don't get the same
Oh
warmth and
yeah.
everything from tape, and you're not truly recording if you're just doing it digitally. And I get that, okay, to an extent. Trust me, I've done some stuff with tape and the layering aspect and everything is so different and there
Yeah.
is a lot more of a warmth value there and stuff like that. And I totally understand that. However, I also feel that a lot of the recording aspects digitally enhance things to the degree that you could do so much more that at the time period of where music was, it made a lot of sense. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
tried to record Nirvana, today with what there is, you're not going to get that same sound And
Nope.
I think that that's what they're writing towards was tape.
Right.
And
Right.
now, with like new metal or, you name it, whatever else,
Yeah.
this is our element now. It's like you write towards that digital element, and it sounds like it's intentional for that. Um, but I would just say I really believe that, you know, that transition back then made sense. But today where everything is so uh unblended and everything is
Yeah.
one pieced in, it
Mhm.
doesn't make sense because you
Right.
lose so much of that chorus of what a band is and what
Mhm.
music is. It's no longer music, it's recording of instruments,
Right.
and put together. And
And
that's where I feel it's rough. And then every once in a while you'll hear somebody will go into a studio and, like Tala, like they were saying that they did it all in one take with, the band standing there together and racked it out. And like, that's freaking awesome. And you can kind of tell because it doesn't sound individualized.
right.
And you just miss that, man. You could hear
Yeah.
it. And I think that when it comes to digital music, whether it's industrial or whether it's, stuff like Billie Eilish or something like that, like that's fine. And it sounds good like that. But if you're trying to get a band sound, I just feel like it needs to
Yeah.
be recorded together, you know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just kind of a purist. I like the studio experience, I
I do
like,
too. Yep.
and maybe that's because of the experience that we had,
Mhm.
um, where it was a vibe and it was a hangout and you wanted to be there. And
Right.
I don't know, maybe I'm nerding out on Sonic Ranch because like, yeah, I would go hang out there just to hang out there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But again, if you look at Vulgar compared to Great Southern Trendkill, both outstanding albums, and because it's Pantera, and Pantera can do outstanding things. Um, but with Great Southern Trendkill, that was when Phil was phoning it in. They were literally off site,
Literally, yeah.
and he was recording his own stuff and sending it to them, and they were, putting it in
Mhm.
themselves. And you can tell, and I'm not saying that Great Southern Trendkill is a bad album by any means. It's actually one of my favorites.
Mine
Um,
too.
but again, you can just tell, but you listen to like Vulgar and stuff like that, and it's like it's so red hot. You could tell
Yeah.
that they were there cohesively, maybe not recording the entire song together as a band in one room or whatever,
Right.
but they were there working on it together, and you can tell,
Yeah.
and they
100%.
feed off of each other. And that's what it is, because there's little
Mhm.
elements that you don't get. That what we're talking about is when you're in a studio, it's not the time that you're actually plugged in doing your thing that makes that album. It's the times when you are sitting around in the chairs and gnawing on something and being like, what else can
Yeah.
we do here,
Yeah.
guys? Think about this. And somebody's like, what about if we did that? That's awesome. Let me
Hmm.
pop in here real quick, punch this in. Those are
Yep.
the things that add that, you know, 13th element to the record that you're just not going to get if everybody's sitting in their bedrooms just phoning it into each other. You know what I
100%.
mean?
100%.
So
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000,000%. And yeah, I guess
there's
I
my
miss
Uncle
it.
Rico moment. Don't you just wish you could go back?
I bet I could throw that football over those mountains.
Stick to
There
the
is,
face.
yeah, there is one thing I want to say before we kind of wrap this up. Since we started talking about Pantera, there
Sure.
is a new series on Hulu called Into the Void. It's kind of a docu-series on heavy metal. I think episode one is Randy Rhoads, and they kind of, go through the story, and it's, current interviews and such. And it was done before Ozzy passed. Ozzy wasn't on it, but Sharon was.
Okay.
Um, Highly recommend it. There's an episode on Dimebag, that,
Nice.
and it's recent interviews with Phil and Rex and Rita. Can't recommend it enough. So,
I gotta watch
um,
that. It
yeah,
sucks.
it's
It's
worth it.
it's Hulu only though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, I hate when people do that.
So here's my login information. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. Yeah, please do. Yeah, because that's the thing. I used to do Hulu for a long. That's just what sucks about this stuff again. Here we go, old people talking again. It's just like, man. it's like you have to have every platform, you know. I hate
Yeah.
that. It's like, gosh, can we just have one thing, please? You
I
know,
remember when Peacock came out, and
yep,
I told my wife, I'm like, absolutely not. We're
yeah,
not getting another, because we had all of them up to that, and I'm like, nope,
right.
not doing it.
This is where I
I
draw the line.
refuse on just, I'm standing my ground here. You know,
Yep,
everybody's going to come out with their streaming service, and they're going to have their exclusive content, and I'm going to want it all. And no.
yep,
So,
yep.
ironically
And
enough, that's the only one I don't have.
there you go. And it's funny that you say that because I did buy into Peacock for I think 2 months or whatever,
Mm,
strictly because they are the only person who has the exclusive rights to The Office. And it had been a few years since
okay.
I watched it, and I was like, man, I want to
Fair.
binge.
That's
Like
fair.
Jay, like my wife and I, we went out. I think we went to Chicago for something or something like that, and like it was on like TBS or something like that, and there was like four
Mm.
episodes in a row. I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss this show so much. And I'm like, we should get back home and just start binge watching this. You know how that feeling
Oh,
is
yeah.
with your wife
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. You just find your show, like, oh, we're gonna watch our
Mm-hmm.
show again tonight, And I was like, we haven't done The Office in a long time, and so
Yeah.
I was like, where is it? I was like, it used to be on Netflix, used to be here, used to be nope, Peacock only. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
And that's
All
the other
right, here
thing
we go.
is the stuff travels to the different
Yeah,
platforms. Anyways,
yeah,
that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can save for another day. But real quick, just because it's kind of funny and will
sure.
definitely age me. Do you know or take a stab at what show almost got me to subscribe to Peacock?
Third Rock from the Sun.
No,
No, I have no idea.
it was the Saved by
Survivor.
the Bell reboot.
Oh, you're kidding me. No way, dude.
I
That's
loved that
awesome.
show when I was a kid, man. Like
Yep.
every day, every single day.
Agreed.
And I'm like, oh, they're gonna try and do them as adults, and they're gonna. I think Zach Morris was the guy, because I was a huge fan of Zach Morris's Trash. If you
Oh,
haven't seen that on
yes.
YouTube, it's hilarious.
Yes.
But anyways, we don't need to get into that. This is a
I
show
love
about new
those.
metal.
No, dude, those are
Um,
so good. The Zach Morris's
Zach Morris
trash
is
segments are
trash.
so awesome, where it's basically
Yeah,
like every single episode is basically, guess what? It seems all well and good and everything when you're watching it, but actually, guess what? He's kind of a POS.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
This is what he was
none of these
really
episodes
doing.
wouldn't have happened if he wasn't
Yeah.
one.
He
That's
was
funny.
gaslighting everybody, and
That's
yeah.
right.
Anyways, so 5.0 guys, definitely check them out, and then check out their other projects too. The Renaissance and Zillion.
I'm
Zillion
gonna check
is
out Zillion.
definitely more my speed. I listen to a handful of the Renaissance songs, and they're not bad. If you're into that kind of four on the floor rock stuff,
Right.
definitely worth a shot. But yeah, I can't recommend this album enough. And I've been
Yeah,
listening
there's
to it
not a
all
bad
day, and
song
I'm
on
probably
it.
going to listen to more of it.
Yep,
Yeah.
not a bad song on it. It's
Mhm.
one of those albums where you can just ride it all the way through
Yeah.
and you never get tired of it.
And the
So again,
guitar
if you've
tone is
never,
really good.
oh, guitar tone is epic.
Yeah.
Vocals
Because
are
back
great.
then,
It's
everybody
yeah,
wanted to use Mesa Boogie Triple
right.
Rex.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't have that triple Rex sound. And,
Yep.
it's like, I was clearly, if anybody has been, following our social media, I was doing some riff reminiscing, over this past weekend on some of our
Yeah,
old
that was
stuff.
fun.
And it's like, man, playing it through, the new technology, I'm like, man, that guitar tone sucks. But hey, listen, it was the time, and everybody
Yeah.
wanted the triple rectifier, and I think I was also using a Gens Benz El Diablo
Yep, dude. The gender
for some
bender.
of the
Yep.
stuff. Yeah, the gender bender. Best decision I ever made was trading that thing straight up for a 5150, which I
Nice.
still have to this day.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
still have the 5150. I'm not giving that up for nothing.
Those are iconic.
So,
Yep.
anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, guys, 5.0, go check it out, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Sweet. All right. Good journey.